Live from the Pines, your favorite East Texas sports podcast, coming at you live tonight. Tonight, we welcome the one and only special guest, Coach Lufkin head baseball coach John Cobb. Coach Cobb, I want to say this is probably your fifth or sixth time coming on Live from the Pines.
Oh, it's so much fun. I just forget how many times I've been on.
And this is the first time you decide to come on and have technical issues. We sit in the lobby for about 20-something minutes, and, we thought we'd get it figured out, and it did not happen.
Nope. I don't know. I had to change my passwords today and everything that I had because there was an update on the computer, and that might have something to do with it.
That's exactly what it was.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something, I'm sure.
Well, we're glad to have you back. So, the 2025 Lufkin Panther baseball team picked not to make the playoffs, finished second in district. They strike back, and, these kids have found a way to play with each other. I guess it's because they've been playing together most of their lives.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, hold on. Who's watching a baseball game?
Me. Me. Is it too loud?
Yes.
It's Mount Pleasant and Texas High play right now.
We scouting?
No, that's
is this a play-in game?
Yeah, that's the play-in game in our district.
What are you watching it on?
It's on Texarkana game day. So I got it pulled up. It's 5-2 Mount Pleasant over Texas High right now. They just scored 3 runs in this inning while we were trying to get that camera to work.
That's why it's not working. We're focused on that.
So,
but unique group. Pick not the best group you've had talent wise, but these kids have found a way to play together. What's going on? What's happening inside the outs of the program? We're not seeing it. What are you doing to work that magic?
Well, it's not me necessarily working the magic as much as it is that those guys just show up every day and work their butts off. This is one of the hardest working groups, if not the hardest working group I've ever had in my 23 years of coaching. They just show up every day and just work hard every day and blood, sweat, and tears and just get after it every day. And that's what's allowed them to be successful.
Are we doing anything different? What's our dynamic this year? What's got us from where we are when we had the Pete, the Integra, and all that to where we are now?
It's nothing that we really haven't changed anything practice wise that we've done in the last 3 or 4 years as far as the structure of practice or anything. I knew we would struggle a little bit early, and when that first tournament we went 2-2. I felt like we should have been 3-1. And then in the Pete, we went 1-3. And you just didn't know how, at that point in time, how everything was going to play out. Like, there was really good competition in the Pete. And we were 2-5 after that tournament. And then we went into the Integra. And we went 4-0 in the Integra. And I think in the month of March and April, we've lost 3 games. And basically 3 games since the Pete also.
So you can go ahead and say it on the show, or nobody's going to be mad at you. Before a lot of these seasons, who comes at you and tells you, they got a chance to be really good, or I think they're going to be pretty good, and I just want to go and get my shout out about that because I did that year after year after year, said those things, and it turns out I'm right every year pretty much.
Well, I can remember I was with the coach from Pleasant Grove, Riley Fincher, that used to coach here.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We were at coaching school in January together, walking through the clinic, and we walked through the Texas High School baseball booth, and I scanned the QR code to get the magazine, and he did the same thing, and he's looking up Pleasant Grove and see what they, where they ranked them, and I'm looking at us, and we're not in the top 4. And I looked at him. I said, they didn't pick us to make the playoffs. And he goes, ooh. And from that point forward, I wasn't mad at them. I understand why they did it, and I'd have probably done it too. But I kind of had a chip on the shoulder. And then that was on a Friday. And Monday I went back to school and talked to the kids about it. Said, hey, guys, we're not picked to make to make the playoffs. That's a kind of a slap in the face as me as a coach. That's a slap in the face in our baseball program, and that's a slap in the face of you and your talent level. And they're just saying that all 3 of us, like our program, me as a coach, or coaches also, and you as baseball players aren't very good. And we kind of after the peak, it all came together, and we're still rocking and rolling today. This is where we are.
But looking at this team on paper, you got Max Slate, you got Grant Stafford. You have some guys. You got Bowers. You got Bowers behind the plate. Doesn't great. You got Camp. You have all these guys out there that are on this field, and it's like you look at them, and they're not the biggest. Jack Bauer's probably your biggest kid, and they're not the biggest kids, and they don't just scream the talent level that you've had over the years. But like you said, they work hard.
Yep.
Most of these kids have played for Casey Bauer since they were 4, 5, 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They've all had a chance to play together, and it's kind of got to a point I remember Julio being Reed's age playing baseball, and his little brother Miggy, walking around the baseball court with a snow cone, in his hand, and all those days. And he was a baby. Now he's, pitching for your varsity baseball team. So these kids have been around Lufkin baseball and played together a long time. They obviously know how to play baseball. It's just the fact that you don't have the guys from last year, so you lose a lot of stars. You lose Cooper Knight. You lose all these guys that you have. Lindsey, all these arms, Hillis, all these guys. And you put it on paper, and it's like, well, they're not going to be very good this year.
Yeah.
And then they somehow find a way to make it all work, finish second in district, and they're getting ready to play a first-round playoff game. So somebody's doing something right.
Yeah, all of that. You're right about all of that, but it's still there's a program expectation of, hey, we're supposed to win the district. We're supposed to go to the playoffs. We're supposed to make deep runs. We're supposed to go to the state tournament. Those are program expectations, and those are my expectations of them every year, regardless of the group. We could have the most talented group, or we can have one of the least talented group. It doesn't really matter. The program expectations are still there year in, year out. And to this group, it means a lot to a lot of the kids to be a Lufkin Panther. And they're carrying the torch, and they're fighting every day to put their number on that board, their graduating class on the board out there. How many years or how many rounds did you advance in the playoffs? Are you the team that got us to the state tournament? Are you the team that won us the state championship first time since 1963? We talk about those pretty often throughout the year. And, it's their turn. It's their time to carry the torch, and they've done a great job of representing Lufkin baseball and representing all of our expectations and what we expect out of them as a group. We talk about pack mentality a little bit throughout the year, and we talked about it today. It takes everybody in the group or everybody on the team to be successful. If you have a 7 or 8, 9 pitch at bat, that's a good thing for the group. That's a good thing for the pack. And we talk about that mentality a lot. And here we are, we finished second in the district, which, the expectation is to win district. That's what we want. But, kids did a great job and just didn't work out, but we're the 2 seed. We finished second in the district. Now we're the 1 seed in Division I with the way the playoffs are set up now. And you can just tip your hats to these kids and say, hey, I want to represent the Lufkin Panthers the best way possible.
Whoever came up with that seating deal, I hate it.
I do too.
I think it's the stupidest thing. If you're going to put me in a district and I'm going to get second place, but I finish first in Division I, might as well get third or fourth every year.
It
always win district. Don't get me wrong. I want to win district, but as way as this playoff works out, if I finish third and fourth, I got a better chance of getting out of that first round than I do if I finish first or second.
Well, it just depends on the way the other district lines up that you had to face or that you face in the first round. We did this a while back, probably, I don't know, it was more than 10 years ago in football, and it didn't work out, and we went away from it. And I don't know why we brought it back in all the other sports. The travel
isn't it because didn't they just start dividing up into divisions for the other sports like they did in football those 15 years ago, whatever it was?
Well, no, this is the first year they've ever divided the sports up, the other sports besides football like this.
Yeah, Yeah.
And it's a logistical nightmare in travel. I mean, from us to McKinney North is 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And then trying to find a place to play when they're not set in like they didn't have their playoffs or their seating set. And we just waited and waited and waited. And every field just got taken and taken and taken. And we ended up, I mean, I'm sure the question is going to come up. Why are you playing in Crandall? Why are you playing in Lindale? Why are you playing in Athens? Well, those are the only fields that we could find to play on certain days.
Yeah.
And it was just a logistical nightmare. And
Well,
so I hope they change it moving forward.
What was it last year? Was it 2 years ago or last year? You had to go play Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go to Cleveland, right?
Yes.
And then they played us in Lufkin, right?
Yeah, they came to us first, and then
we went to Cleveland, and we were just smart enough to outsmart them, and we did something that most teams wouldn't have did, and most school districts wouldn't support it. Shout out to LISD.
Yeah.
They housed us down there. Short ride back to the Carter, and what did we do? We went down there and we played baseball. And we won.
Yeah, that was Coach Quick when he was still here then. He okayed that, and then you got to give a shout out to the accounting department of Lufkin ISD because you don't stay in a hotel during the playoffs, and we did, and hey, we just out logistic them, and we won the series that game or that series.
And that past season, I left a bad taste in my mouth. And
I want to ask before we dive into that, how many out of the kids that are really contributing this year, what all did we lose? Like starting 9 last year and the pitching staff, how many kids are playing those new roles? Like what returned from last year?
Well, we lost all 3. We lost I want to say it was 92% of our innings on the mound last year.
Crazy.
Grant Stafford, I think he threw 14 innings last year, and that was it. Cordova threw 4 innings last year.
I remember he came in against Bullard. We're like, where the hell has he been at?
Yeah. I know Grant hit last year as well, but at returning offense, what at the plate has been the same?
We bought Camp was in the lineup last year. If you remember, Camp was batting in the 8 hole, playing third base, and now he's batting in the 3 hole, playing third base.
Saved the day at Hallsville.
Yeah, and then Francisco Serrano was playing first base and batting in the 6 hole. He's batting in the 8 hole now. And then Bowers was the DH in the 7 hole last year. Now he's in the 4 hole this year. And then Stafford was in the 3 hole last year, and we moved him up to the 2 hole. And then other than that, nobody else was in the lineup.
So you lose over half the lineup.
Oh yeah, we lost. We only had 4 starters coming back.
Wow.
I got to ask you a question. When you have the pitcher rotation you had last year, you can throw Lindsey out there, you can throw Hillis out there, you can throw Cooper Knight out there, you can close them with Grant Stafford. You have all these guys. Mm-hmm. And then you show up this year and you're getting ready for baseball season. You're looking at a roster, whatever you call it, and you're sitting there jotting out stuff. And you're like, all right, this guy had 4 innings. This guy had 0 innings. This guy had 0 innings. This guy had 1 inning. Mm-hmm. How are you taking that approach to baseball, coach? Going into the season, you already know in the back of your head, I got to have a pitching staff. And that's what we talked about earlier this year on the show. If the pitching can be there, we can do some damage because that's the only thing holding us back. We can hit the ball. Mm-hmm. But how am I going to put guys up there and throw strikes? And we talked about, okay, well, this week I got to play Tuesday, then I play Friday, then I got to turn around and play Saturday. So I got to have enough arms there. I think you said we went into the season with 14 guaranteed arms you could throw out there.
Yep.
So looking at where we are now, how did this all align out and work?
Okay, this is going to be a long answer. You ready?
I'm ready.
So the first day of school, we started throwing. We dynamically warm up, we arm care, and we throw every day of the school year. Okay? Every day we throw. We never miss up opportunity to throw. And we don't pitch year round, but we do throw year round. There is a difference. Mm-hmm. And we spent the whole month of August getting our arms in shape, and we started putting everything in, bunt coverages, rundowns, pickoffs, first and thirds, everything in. And then we went into our fall season starting in, I think, the Tuesday after Labor Day. All right. Then that's the one Tyler Abney coached and Seth Thompson coached a team also. And so we had 2 even teams. And basically, we were throwing, 14 guys a week, 16 guys a week in those fall games, 1 to 2 innings, and getting them like experience, getting their feet wet. And I want to say all 14 to 16 guys got somewhere between 7 and 9 appearances this past fall in 1 to 2 innings. And so nobody threw over 16 innings this fall, but they were getting experience. Like, hey, a new game, I'm going out there, and I'm getting my innings in, right? And offensively, we got over 700 at bats this fall, which is astronomical. I think we're at 980 at bats right now. But we played on a Tuesday. We played other schools on a Tuesday in our little local fall league, and then we inter-squatted on Thursdays. And you're working on things, and we kept stats in those and posted those stats from those games, and we just kind of kept going and going and going. And then when January got here, we started over again, and we just kept running them out there in those inter squads. We get 2 inter squads and 6 scrimmages, and we just run kids out there and give them opportunities and, see who steps up. And that's where we are today.
Well, I think y'all did a great job, and I think it's benefited.
So we also have a new pitching coach this year.
I wanted to talk about that. I was going to wait.
Okay.
How's that change? Leaving. Kaminsky's moved on to Houston area, and you're one of your favorite Lufkin Panthers takes over the role of the bucket beside you.
Yep.
You're not calling pitches anymore. You're on that pitch com now. We've moved up in the world. But how has Colton ever going to handle this new position and transition to this role?
Well, I always knew if he ever become a coach that I wanted him to be our pitching coach or my pitching coach personally, because I'm super high strung and just like
we know. Yeah.
I always thought you were pretty calm.
Outside the baseball field, I'm pretty calm, but in between, like when I go in the gate, it's a whole different personality.
Yep.
But he's opposite of me, and it's a very good balance to have, to where he calms everything down. I might give a couple butt chewings to somebody, and he comes back behind them. Hey, it's okay. You got to do this, this, and that. And then he's with them every day. The way we do our pitchers, he's with them every day, and they're doing some sort of work in the bullpen every day and getting their work in, getting their time in. And I think our district ERA this year, I looked this morning, was 1.68 or something along those lines. And that's unbelievable considering what all we lost last year.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure our ERA on the year is less than 2.3.
Well, I guess Colton has another year of being a Lufkin Panther pitching coach, it sounds like.
Yeah, he's done a really, really good job with them. And,
when you have somebody like that actually cares and the kids can, connect to, and he cares about the kids, and, when they get on the mound, he trusts them and he knows that he's, put the work in with them through the time. So it's basically, you're throwing somebody out there, that's prepared for the job.
Oh, yeah. And oh, my goodness. Oh, Texas High just hit a grand slam to tie it up in the bottom of the sixth.
It did go out.
Cam Reitner just went Yahtzee.
6-6.
No, it's good. It's good to have, because he's kind of the younger guy that relates to him, and even keel, and he's done a remarkable job on calling pitches this year. He thinks like, hey, this kid doesn't like this pitch, we're going to throw this. We're not going to do the traditional, however you want to put it, or however you want to say it. I don't want to tip our hat or anything, but he's doing what he's doing, and our kids are executing.
Well, that's great. And Colton was he was a great pitcher, and he made some changes in his delivery and all those things. And it's when somebody can go from here to here, and now can teach from here to here, that's an advantage.
That's right. You're 100% right on that. That's
an advantage. And, Colton's a nerd, so I'm sure he sits there and studies a lot of numbers and things. And that's an advantage. Baseball's coming a numbers game. And I think a lot of people are, not realizing that it's not the same baseball it used to be, you know. Just because you can pump 92, 93, that's in high school that, you know, it's not uncommon anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in the day, you catch the Woodlands on a Tuesday night at home and a Friday night on the road, you know, you're going to see 93, maybe 95 on Friday, you know, and that was, you know, scary. But now you can see 85, 86, but it's coming from here and ending here, you know. It's phenomenal what the game of baseball is changing to. And it's actually something that, you know, we've seen slowly changing in the past because we've seen guys that have been dynamic in, you know, high school baseball that just didn't have the velo. Look at Miggy, you know, he doesn't have the 95, the 90, 92, 93, but if you can put a pitch in the strike zone and I can hit my spots and I can, you know, make my pitches, I can beat you.
Yep. And
if I can trust in the guys behind me to make a play, and that's one thing I want to brag about Lufkin about. Our defense is stout.
Yeah.
We play stout defense up the middle. We probably have one of the best, you know, middle infields.
Well, we should play good defense every year. My team should be known for really good defensive teams.
Yeah, it's something we've always, you know, been blessed to have is great middle infielders, guys on the corners, and some guys in the outfield that can track the balls down. But like this team sticks out so much, and I want to brag on them a lot because they are not your usual Lufkin baseball team. And it's nothing against these kids. You have to learn how to work with. You have to learn to work with what you have. And if you know, a lot of teams probably wrote y'all off at the beginning of the year. And what these kids did, they kept working, and it paid off. The results paid off. You finished second in district, and that's another thing. You know, I'm a firm believer that White House is not a better baseball team than we were. I think that, you know, it just didn't go our way.
Yeah, they played better. They played better than us in two different games.
Yep, and I hate it because they got a little cockiness to them, and that's one of the teams that you definitely want. That's one of those teams you definitely want to beat out the park because they're going to come and they're going to talk, and they reminded me a lot of that Forney bunch from last year. But like I said, we still had a heck of a season. You finished second in district, picked not to make the district, and now you're getting ready to play McKinney North. And the thing about the McKinney North team is there's a lot of history between us and these Dallas schools. McKinney, the Frisco schools, we seem to see those teams every year.
Mm-hmm.
Frisco, Wakeland.
Yeah.
Now, I will say one thing, and I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but I told the kids Saturday, we worked out Saturday morning after we played Marshall, and I said, guys, I am tired of people telling me that we've had a great year so far. Like, hey, you've done so much better than you expected, and you know you're doing a great job, and you know, and it's like, okay, we've had a great season. It's, hey, let's tap you on the butt, and the season's over.
No,
you know, there's more. Like there is more to come. Like the expectation of being a Lufkin Panther is making long playoff runs, and that's what we expect. Like, yeah, we're supposed to have a good season. You know, that's our program that we've built. Like we are expected to be in the playoffs, and we are expected to make deep playoff runs.
I agree.
Like, I mean, that's what we're. I mean, if we don't, then we have not met our expectations. So regardless of who's there, you know, what the talent level is, but you know, when you work your butt off every day like this group has, there's a reason why we've won 21 games, and there's a reason why we're wearing our stirrups now, and there's a reason why we're finished second in district, and you know, we got an opponent to face in the first round this year.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. Tell the people the history of earning the stripes to wear the stirrups.
Yep.
It's not just everybody can just, you know, every team just doesn't get to wear them.
Yeah, every team doesn't get to wear them. You got to win 20 games or you got to win a district championship. And I really love the look. I think it's an old school traditional look. And it was something we started, I don't know, probably we started with Coach Barry a couple years when his last couple years. And then when I went to Bullard and came back, it wasn't in. And then when I took over as the head guy the next year, I put it back in. And so it's just kind of, hey, you won 20 games. That's a big deal. Or you won a district championship. Let's put on our put on our stirrups and let's get after it. This is our playoff attire. Let's go to work.
No, I think it's pretty neat, and I think that a lot of kids are so used to just getting stuff handed to them that it gives this group something to work for.
That is exactly right. You got to earn it.
Yep.
Is there anything else out there that we don't know about that your little secret that you make your kids earn?
Well, we had to do away with the black shirts a couple years ago. You know, I always like to have the seniors in black shirts because they were the leaders, and that was kind of an old school football thing from back in my day. And we just the parent pushback of making them earn something because the parents just wanted them given to them. We had to do away with it, and so now we're all in purple shirts. And other than
hold on, backtrack, elaborate a little bit.
Do what?
Elaborate a little bit on that.
So yeah, we just had too much pushback from the parents of just causing too much fuss. And I said, finally, screw it. You know, we won't wear black shirts no more. We'll just take them out. And you won't have anything to gripe about, or you won't be able to gripe about your kid having to earn something anymore. Because I'm old school in the way I think. Like, you have to earn it. Nothing should be given to you. Everything should be earned. And that's where we're at now. And so we don't really have anything else. Just show up every day, work your butt off, and let's go beat some people.
I love it. All right, let's get down to the magic. Let's start at the beginning of the district. Let's work our way up. Let's hear about it. Let's hear the bad days, the good days. Let's hear it.
Well, let's start off with somebody you haven't mentioned at all this year.
Timaeus.
Who?
Timaeus.
Absolutely. So Timaeus, you know, in the fall, he established that he was the leadoff hitter, right? And then we go to the first tournament, and he was a little banged up and had a terrible first tournament. He started the year off 0 for 18. And we actually had to move him out of the leadoff spot. We put him in the 9-hole, and he still wasn't doing very good. And he was really close to, I don't think he realizes how close he came to getting benched. And in the Integra, he got going a little bit. And so district started again, and we put him back up at the top of the lineup, and he's going to be first team all district. There is no doubt. He's got more hits in district than anybody on the team. And I think he's hitting around 425 in district or so, something like that.
Dang.
And so he's the table setter. And, you know, you got Stafford behind him, Camp behind him, Bowers behind him, Slayton behind him, and Rasmussen behind him. You know, he sets the table and scores the runs for us. And he's also had a couple big hits the last couple of weeks.
And he can fly too, right?
Yeah, he can run a little bit. He's playing center field. And, you know, he's the table setter for all of us.
So, Temez in center. Mm-hmm. We go Rasmussen in right, correct?
Yep.
And then left, we have
we got a freshman.
Fitzgerald. We go Camp, Stafford, Slayton, Serrano, Bowers, whoever you got on the map.
Yep. That's
it. we just named all those guys. How many of these guys have played a varsity appearance before this season? How many of these guys have played in a playoff game?
Just 4 of them. So
that's huge.
Yeah,
but like you say, the teams you bring to the Integra, the Pete, those teams are battle-tested teams. You're going to see that caliber come playoff time.
Yeah.
So if we start off playing these guys, we should be prepared for, you know, Wednesday in Crandall.
That's exactly right. Like we faced the Wynn Harris kid from White House, and he's 84, 86. But the guy on Wednesday night is going to be anywhere from 86 to 89, and we haven't faced that since the Pete. You know, but we talked about it. Hey, you know, remember facing such and such from Pleasant Grove? Remember facing such and such from College Station? Remember facing such and such from Walnut Grove? You know, remember facing the guy from even John Paul? Like those guys were bringing it, and I said that's what we're going to see.
Yeah,
and we've kind of been in a playoff mindset the last couple of weeks, So hopefully we go in there with a lot of confidence and play relaxed and turn it loose and just get after it.
Are we still on that machine you bought back in the day that it can get the speed really up there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is that like a secret?
Yes, we're hitting off machines. We hit off machines every day.
Does everybody not do that anymore?
I have no idea.
Are we gatekeeping on a Jugs baseball machine we've been using since 2000 and probably the 90s?
No, we don't. We have one Jugs machine, and it throws fastballs and changeups at us, and then everything else we call them hack attacks. So all those port butts that you buy every year and you support the baseball team, that's where they go, and it helps. We put that back into our development as players, and it's helped us tremendously.
Well, I'm glad that I can be a help to Lufkin baseball as far as buying port butts, paying my Century Club dues, and deciding to stand out there with Bowers and Didsworth and smell like grease and
that's the pit of knowledge.
Yeah, it's a lot of knowledge out there. But going into the playoffs, this playoff run and everything, and are we going to? Is there a lot of teams in here that are we're familiar with and we've seen in the past?
I'm not real sure. I haven't looked. I haven't dove. I didn't make a deep dive today in the playoff bracket. I was still trying to work on getting everything set up, and then start to work on make sure that we saw the shape of the pitcher, like the fastball, curveball. We were going to face that today in practice. What we'll face Wednesday, and just kind of get some video cut ups of their pitchers and things like that. So I haven't looked. I don't even know who we play in the second round if we were able to advance.
Yeah, we're not. You're right. We're not worried about all those things. We're worried about one team, and Kenny North. We got to get past them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So McKinney North, if I'm not incorrect, this is the team we played in the playoffs a few years ago. Okay.
Last year.
Okay, so it's not the team that took a lot of pitches against us. Is that one of the Frisco schools? We did a little.
I don't remember that.
When the slashing came into place.
Oh, that was Wakeland.
Frisco
Wakeland. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, he's burnt. That's scoring a run.
So.
That's scoring 2.
Should have just scored 1. It should be 7-6.
Yeah. On second.
Unless the kid. Oh, it did score 2. 8-6.
Hold on, no umpires out there. They came across the line. You can't do that, can you?
No, they come out of the dugouts. What's happening?
Oh, that's when Coach Cobb turns around and loses his cool. But
that's a good time to lose your cool.
Coach Cobb, talk a little bit about your arm care program and all those things. How beneficial is it for kids to throw year round? Not necessarily not pitching, but throwing and using the arm. If it's like with the weighted balls, all those different things. How important are those things?
It's just
We're not seeing a lot of arm injuries in Lufkin.
It's just part of. We actually had a kid miss. We kind of shut down Craig Forkey for about a week there. He had some soreness in the shoulder.
Trey, you know who that is?
No.
That's the kid that came to your house and we recorded the podcast with Kivo and Lil Webb. And he just sat there with his leg crossed and didn't say a word. And we were like, we actually that was him. He's actually
the one that we, okay.
Yeah. The one that I said looked like,
Yeah.
Really good kid.
Yeah.
But no, we shut him down for precautionary reasons. And I mean, he was still throwing, he just didn't pitch him. And then he'll be our game 3 starter if we get there against McKinney North this week. But he's actually one of the first kids we have in 2.5 years that has missed a start on the mound, or like we restricted his throwing the last 2.5 years because of our arm care program.
He is, just from the looks of him, the day we met him, I would not have thought that he would play baseball.
Well, I will say this, and I hope he's listening to this, but he was not a very good baseball player last year. as a junior on the JV and didn't pitch very good. And I guess like met with all the kids at the beginning at the end of last year. Hey, this is what you got to do to get in the mix or whatever else. And he took it serious and went to work in the fall, and he's in the mix now. Like it became important to him, and he's 3-1 in district with 3 big wins against 3 big teams.
Forky, we're proud of you.
And so,
and I want a lot of parents to listen to that story. Junior year, he just didn't have it. He was on the JV as a junior, struggled, but guess what? Senior year, he found his role. He's 3-1 in district.
Yeah.
And he has a chance to get ready to pitch in the first round of the playoffs as a senior.
Yeah.
Yep.
It reminds me a lot of someone that kind of it happened the same way. It would have been our junior year.
Please don't. we would never hear the end of this story.
But I mean, it is.
I mean, it's a great story though.
Yeah,
it's
Christian
awesome.
Stevens. Christian Stevens.
I thought you were going the other route.
No.
Logan Lair and Christian Stevens, both of them.
I thought you were going to say Clayton Corley.
No, God no. No, Christian went he won 9 games that year in district. It was something crazy. I think he won every start in district.
He was 9-1 on the year.
Yeah. It was, and the year before, I'm pretty sure he was on JV because I was on JV with him.
And wasn't very good.
Yeah, and then he comes out, and I think by the end of the year, he went somewhere to play baseball.
Yeah, he went to junior college in Illinois.
Yeah,
he's coaching in dye ball right now.
Yeah,
he's coaching baseball. That's great. Christian Stevens is coaching baseball.
I can tell you this. I remember we got beat by Klein Collins in the first game of the Houston Memorial Tournament. In this game 2, we're playing Highland Park, and Logan Lair went out, and I think he gave up 1 or 2 runs through 6 innings. And we go into extra innings because of the time limit. And Christian Stevens, I brought in Christian, and we go out there, and he walks the first hitter on 4 straight pitches. Okay, and it's extra innings. And he throws ball 1 to the next hitter, and I called time, and I went out there, and Connor Hanks was coming out there to meet me on the mound, and I looked at Hanks, and I said, "You stay there." And I get out there, and Christian Stevens was trembling in his shoes, and I had some choice words for him at the time because I did not like him trembling in his shoes. And he went pop up, and then pitched the next 3 innings, no hits, no runs to get the win. And then the next weekend we went to Brazoswood and played, and he got the save in the first or second game of the tournament. And then we're in the championship game, and he's begging to go in. I was like, "Don't even put your spikes on today." And I look up, he's begging. And I'm like, "No, you're not going in. I don't care what happens." Then I look over there, and he's putting his spikes on, and we get down. We've gone through 3 pitchers in the championship game, and he's in the bullpen, and I'm like, "I'm not putting you in." And he goes, "Coach, I feel good. Let's go." And goes out there and throws 2 shutout innings against Angleton, and we win the tournament. And from that point forward, he was the guy.
He was the guy. It's crazy.
He started game 1 of that.
He started game 1 of every playoff round and went 4-0 in 5 rounds.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how development takes time.
It does.
If you don't quit, because I played baseball with Christian Stevens and Ian Stevens majority of our lives.
Yeah.
You look back in middle school, all the way up to freshman, sophomore year. I don't think Christian Stevens even, really cared to be out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he did work hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just automatically clicked.
Yep.
And a lot of, you see it all the time in high school baseball. Your kid might be Shohei Ohtani on his 14, 13-year-old select baseball team. And then he gets to high school baseball, and he's just
he plays golf or something.
An average cat. He's just out there. He's just on the team.
Yeah.
And then, senior year or junior year, they grow into their bodies. They start getting bigger, they get stronger. And it's like, holy cow, my kid's pretty good again. But I think a lot of parents are starting to put a lot of trust into, what this trainer says, what this trainer says, what this pitching coach says, what this pitching coach says, what this hitting coach says, what this. Dude, I remember we used to go hit with Coach Coy. And you couldn't understand a word Coy said because he had so much Copenhagen in his mouth. But he knew what he was talking about.
Yep.
And, you didn't have 40 other guys, messing with your swing. You had probably the guy you played league ball with that really didn't know what he was talking about. So you really probably didn't need to listen to him. You had a select baseball coach that had a pretty good idea. And then you had Coy that, he had it figured out. And I had guys like Stuart Sanford, Shannon Lowe, Mr. Wynn, all those guys, telling me different things. And you look at nowadays, and it's like your kid's 8 years old with a hitting coach, pitching coach, a strength coach, a conditioning coach, agility coach, a jumping coach, a running coach. He goes here for sprinting class. He goes here for throwing class. It's like, God, let the kids play baseball.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how the game is nowadays, and I mean, a lot of everybody's just trying to exploit kids and make money off kids.
Yeah,
that's a whole different conversation and can of worms.
Coach Cobb, looking at all the kids you got playing college baseball, how proud of them are you? Godly.
Good. I try to keep in touch with them. Somewhat throughout the year when I can. Like the other day, I think it was Friday, I ran home, I changed clothes, and I had about 30 minutes to kill by the time I got home, and I picked up food to take to the game with us and picked up a bus. And so I clicked on Georgia and Oklahoma, and Oklahoma was down. They put Reed in and gave up a walk and a bomb. I was like, I'm not talking to him anytime soon.
Yeah, I was there. That was tough.
Yeah, but I mean, Georgia, they can swing.
Yeah, they were very, very aggressive, and it wasn't. I mean, I've gone back, I've looked at it. It wasn't a bad pitch. It was a curveball that just wasn't down enough somehow. I mean, Trey Phelps hit it.
I mean,
pretty much 600 feet off his shins.
When you're playing the SEC and the leading home run hitter in the nation is batting in the 6 hole in your lineup,
he was coming back from injury. He was in the 4 hole about the next game.
Oh, well, in that game, he was in the 6 hole leading the nation in home runs, and he's hitting 330. You're telling me there's 5 guys in front of him that are better hitters than him?
Yeah, because the guy 2 slots in front of him that I hope he's okay. He went down with an arm injury.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Zoborowski or whatever. He was in front of him hitting 380 with just 1 less home run than him. I mean, those dudes they were aggressive. I can't tell you how many home runs they hit foul. They were turning on 94, waiting on fastballs that they probably hit 5 home runs foul.
Hitting off those machines every day.
Yeah.
Where they get these kids at?
Dude, I don't know. They got some, for lack of a better term, goons. I mean, just big old strong dudes that'll jump all over a pitch that's
cornbread fed.
Yes.
That's like I go to A&M and work camps every summer, and I'm around those kids, and those kids are massive. I mean,
dude,
it's just crazy.
Yeah, but I mean that's you talk about biding your time, waiting around. Reed, he had 14 innings all of last year, I think.
Yeah,
and now he's got, I mean, he had I think 14 innings in through the first 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks or 3 weekend series. Like I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It just comes with the time. Granted, he changed positions, but I mean, if you're a freshman in the SEC and you've got juniors and seniors in the bullpen in front of you, it's going to take time for you to get there. Unless you're just Dylan Volantis or whatever his name is.
Is that the kid from Texas?
Yeah.
Oh, the lefty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Which maybe kids need to play. Was it water polo in high school and they become better baseball players? I don't know.
He was a freak water polo player. They said.
Yeah.
I don't know one thing about water polo, but he was really dang good at it.
Well, he's 6'5", 6'6" with a long wingspan. I mean,
It, like throws it from up here, left-handed.
yeah. He's also got he had 56 strikeouts with like 8 walks going into the A&M series.
Yeah. They've won now 19 games, and he has 10 saves in SEC play.
Yeah.
10 saves.
That's great. Great recruit.
As a baseball coach, before we talk about this, I want to shout out Sam Flores. He's at Kansas State raking.
Yep. He had a good weekend.
Yeah, Sam Van will hit the baseball for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he hits it hard. And if he can continue to do that, he's going to make some money one day hitting the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just can swing it.
Oh, yeah, he can swing it okay. So he had a Oppo bomb Friday or Saturday.
But it's another thing, waiting your opportunity, you get in the lineup, make a statement. And like I said the other day on Live with the Vines, if you hit, you don't sit. And they'll find a way to put you out there, to swing the baseball bat if you can do those things that he's doing.
But the other thing is like you got to work while you wait. And when you while you're not getting your opportunity, you have to work. And then when you get the opportunity, you got to be successful with your opportunity because you're going to get that chance. I think that's one of the models, or the travel ball model is broke, in the fact that there's always another tournament and there's always another team to go play for if you don't play on this team or whatever, and you don't ever have to compete for a spot. That's why I like the all-star teams. They're going to pick the all-stars, and that team's got to play together, and that team's selected. They're not paying to play on that team, and then if you're lucky enough to find somebody like Bud to coach you that doesn't care who you are or how much money your parents have, that you're going to put the best 9 out there to win.
Bud's still doing that.
Yeah, this is the last year.
This is it.
Yep, 50 years.
I saw him at Honduras yesterday, and I asked him, I was like, you can tell you about the baseball park all day. And I was like, you going back out there? And he's like, no, I'm going to watch it in the air conditioner.
Yeah. I'm
like, dude, how are you still doing this? He's been doing this since I was walking. Before then.
Yeah. 50 years.
50 years.
That's older than Cobb.
So, yeah, he is way older than me.
Not much.
But it's just like when it gets in there in your blood and, you get going and you're able to have some success and make some changes.
That's a good thing, though. Daddy can't save you from Bud.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no.
No. And they better be glad he doesn't have that white van anymore.
Yeah.
That's something that I always love, because you basically got dropped off and mom and dad didn't have a say in anything that went on out there.
Yep.
And if you did, it was, we'll see you later,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great, because kids get to high school baseball and they don't understand how to take coaching from coach, and you can't get dad to coach for you because his say doesn't matter anymore.
That's right.
And I remember being younger and he was coaching Kyle Lovelace, like Jesse Cravey, those guys. And we'd be out there. We would practice in between their 2-a-days, but we'd be out there 2 days a week practicing for whatever team we did, and they'd be out there 2 times a day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he used to make them run around the baseball, softball, and the soccer
whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He did that during the summer. He did not, it was. I don't think he really cared.
Yeah, when I was growing up, we had the 2-a-day baseball practices in Little League. So that was just part of it back in the day.
What's your take on what's going on in Starksville?
Man, I don't know. You got to wait to the end of the season before you fire him.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 weekend series left. They're like 7-14. And
there's no, you're not trying to hit a recruiting deadline. There's not a portal window opening up anytime soon.
No.
And the man, he won the only national championship in the school's history. You owe it to him to
finish the
season, and then you can send him on his way then, but not right now.
Starksville don't see it like that.
Well, they should, and they ought to be thankful that he won them a national championship.
Is his coaching career over, you think?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm talking like in the SEC.
Probably in the SEC, but I mean, he's going to be able to go somewhere outside of the SEC and probably be pretty successful again.
You got to think about.
South Carolina should take a pull at him.
South Carolina?
No,
I don't know. Where is Marinelli going?
You got to get rid of him, man.
Pulmonary.
Pulmonary.
Yeah. You got to think about how many coaches in college baseball have a national championship under their belt. There's not that many.
Well, I can tell you this: coaching in the SEC is, I mean,
South Carolina used to be a powerhouse in college baseball.
But you always
good. I mean, the powerhouse in college baseball for the SEC is Mississippi State. That's who it was, and up until probably the last few years, always has been.
And they were
programs there.
They were one of the blue bloods of college baseball. I think.
Oh, no doubt, Mississippi State.
Ron Polk.
Yeah. But college baseball without Mississippi State being good is not college baseball. You catch Mississippi State in a regional night game, and in Starksville, that's something to have on your TV for sure.
I would love to go experience that.
I would love to. I would also be scared because I would hate to see them lose and see the way their fans would act.
I think that stadium sits like 27,000 now.
Yeah, but you got that outfield seating that is just
It's a barbecue.
Yeah, it's a party.
Yeah, they literally have barbecue stands. I think it's in left field.
Mm-hmm.
In different rows, just one behind another. Tailgate stands.
Yes.
Roll up, bring your tent, bring your food. The grill's already there.
Coach Cobb, what's going on in College Station?
No comment.
No, we got to hear about it. What's going on in College Station?
No comment.
Let the A&M fans know that it's going to be okay because the season's not over.
It's not. They've won 9 games in the SEC.
It depends on how they do this weekend.
Yeah, they got to go. They go to Baton Rouge, right?
Yeah.
I think that's this weekend.
No. Did they go or do they have Baton Rouge at home?
No, they go to Baton Rouge.
Go to Baton Rouge this year.
It's crazy. I got in my truck this morning and I've been playing music all week at the rodeo, and I probably didn't listen to one song yesterday because I was just, in a quiet space. But Call Out Baton Rouge came on, and it just got me so excited about college. He's thinking about college baseball. I can only imagine being in Baton Rouge this past weekend with Tennessee there, and Call Out Baton Rouge coming on. LSU's beating the brakes out of Tennessee like they did yesterday.
Well, one of the things is like most people can't. I've cheered for the Aggies my entire life because my dad went to school there. That's who I grew up cheering for. But I've also been a big LSU fan because in the late '90s that was the team. Skip Bergman was there, and that was the team.
You hold the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
hold the rope. Sorry, not line.
Our uniforms, or if LSU has it, we have it in Lufkin. Like the only thing that we don't have right now are those Marucci helmets, and we will have some next year.
Mm-hmm.
But if do what?
What'd you say? I was reading something.
I said if LSU has it, we have it. Like uniform wise, that's where our uniforms are kind of designed after. If they have it, we have it. Like they have those Marucci helmets now. We got to get some of those.
Well, you just call Michael Dinsworth and tell him you need to get some Marucci helmets, and he'll take care of it.
But no, so we'll see how it all plays out. The SEC tournament will be fun.
Is
16 getting there?
Mm-hmm. Who do you have winning the SEC tournament?
Who do I have winning it? Probably Vandy or Arkansas.
Okay. Well,
Texas won't win it.
I don't think Texas will either. But the way I look at it, I think LSU is getting hot at the right time.
Well, I don't. Yeah, but I don't know that LSU and I don't know that Texas view the SEC tournament as being important, and so they won't throw their guys just so they'll get them some more rest before the regionals start.
Yeah, for Texas and LSU have pretty much done anything but lock up a national seed,
mm-hmm.
And so
so it doesn't matter really to them. But Vanderbilt
and also LSU A&M play in Bryan College Station.
Oh, they do?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yeah.
But Corbin at Vandy, and then Van Horn at Arkansas, like they're going to try to pitch to win the tournament. They always do.
Yep.
So.
Is what's
don't overlook the Sooners.
Yeah.
But you talk about Arkansas.
Maybe.
What's going on in Arkansas?
They got some dudes up there.
They just lost like 4 out of the 6.
It's one of those midseason things. They'll figure it out.
But you say they'll figure it out, but you don't think it's like they're always right there.
It's all. Here's the thing.
It's been offense. It's been offense. That's been their downfall.
But here's the thing. Be it in a high school season or be it a college season or even an SEC season, you're going to have ups and downs offensively and with your pitching.
Absolutely.
And the other team that you play might just catch you at the right time to where, they start. That's why the SEC tournament's not important to some of those guys and some of those teams. They will pitch their guys that haven't pitched very much just to get their main guys rest for the regionals and then for the super regionals.
But like a team like Texas has been playing as good as they have. Do you think they peaked too early, or are they just really that good? They're
that good because they got one of the best baseball coaches in the nation leading the charge.
Yeah, Max Wiener's great.
Well, he's probably the top pitching coach in the nation.
Yeah, he won't be at Texas next year.
So, I mean, I don't know. He likes it. He likes the college game, and he makes a lot of money.
And he's now with his best friend.
There you go.
What do you think he's doing so different that most schools aren't doing?
He's smarter than everybody else. Like when I say he's smarter, he knows how to figure out what you do best, say your spin rate or what pitch you have, and maximize what you do best. Or if you're say you have an average SEC slider based off your spin rate, well, we need to change up your arm slot to change up something in your slider to where it's not average. It's either below average or outside of average. So you want a pitch that's below average or a pitch that's above average of what those hitters see every day. And they're able to mix those in or figure out individually what each pitcher needs to do in order to be successful.
Yeah, but if you're, any pitching coach in the SEC should be able to do those things.
No, some people are set in their ways. And they don't, like typical left-hander, you're going to be on the left side of the rubber. Well, he might move you over to the right side of the rubber. Hey, you might only pitch out of the stretch. You might only throw a fastball and a changeup, or you might only throw a slider or a two-seamer or a four-seamer. Like, he's going to use data to make you better and try to get you to pound the zone with those two strikes.
Well, he's doing a great job at it because, you lose Jared Spencer, your Friday guy.
He is one of the best, if not the best in the nation.
You lose Jared Spencer, your Friday guy, and you throw a guy out there like Ruger Rehosas. And I really didn't think I thought Ruger would have got the start on Friday. Well, I don't think he would have got the start on Friday. I think you throw I think you throw Burns on Friday. Then you go Ruger.
Nobody cares what you think.
I'm just asking. I don't get I'm trying to get the approach.
You don't know what they know, and you don't know what they think, and it might be a matchup deal against that day's lineup or something. Like, man, they got numbers that you wouldn't believe.
That's another thing me and Trey been talking about a lot.
Yeah, Jalen, can you define induced vertical break?
Now,
vertical, yeah.
Induced. I can tell you collision, comprehension, full coverage, replacement costs, any of those things you need to know. I can help you out with that.
Yeah.
When you start mixing science and physics and baseball and all that together, you lost me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me and Trey been talking a lot about situational pitching. I don't like it. I don't like bringing a kid in just to face this one batter, then bringing this kid in to face this one batter. I don't like that.
You don't like winning?
I do like winning, but I'm not a fan of it. If I'm gonna put you out there, I'm putting you out there to battle. And I'm not just going to pull you out of there just because, you got this guy to ground
well,
out.
how did you feel about Max Grubbs coming in there at the end of the ninth against A&M yesterday?
No, that needed to happen.
Okay, well, I mean that's a situational thing. So your
But-
definition of it is,
That
probably
But here's
misconstrued on what
the other thing. They have data that you don't have, or you haven't researched.
No.
Like they have heat maps and they have synergy that they're able to scout off of, and they know what. Hey, this guy is hitting 310 on the slider away, like that, and they know what not to throw, and they have algorithms written where they can just almost the algorithm can call the pitch. Hey, we're throwing this pitch in this situation. Like they have algorithms that people they've hired from Harvard or Yale or something that come in there and write those algorithms to where you're taking all the guessing out, and this is how we're attacking this guy.
Yep.
You got a pitching coach with 2 or 3 finance degrees.
Mm-hmm. We do somewhat the same without the numbers and the data.
Yeah, you don't have the access to, every single one of these stadiums.
Yeah.
And because probably every Division One stadium has a trackman behind home plate that'll tell you exactly what's going on.
Yes, the MLB pays for that now.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. Plus, with half the SEC has an advanced pitching lab that will break down your body on a gears machine that'll tell you the exact arm angles, your exact scoop nation, pro nation, exact RPMs of everything, exact angle of the seams down to the 1/8 of an inch, whatever it is. So they know that this kid, 99% of the time he comes out here and throws this kind of slider is going to match up better than what this kid does hitting against the slider.
And
I just got a text. We have to stop calling it situational and call it matchups because Reed says it's matchups.
It is matchups. I agree 100%. But here's the other thing is that like they have access to this data and they know how to use the data and to apply the data to every kid differently.
Yeah.
That's what makes them so much better. And
So
people are starting not to like the SEC, saying that the SEC is getting too good and there are too many teams representing in Omaha. Well, the SEC is spending all this money on baseball.
Yeah.
And schools outside of the SEC are few and far between on the amount of money they spend on baseball.
They don't care. Yeah.
They don't care. I mean, it's a huge
The ACC is finally following suit, and you saw what happened last year with you had 4 ACC teams and 4 SEC teams in Omaha.
5-3, wasn't it?
That was 4-4.
Oh, I thought it was 5-3. But
UCLA's playing better baseball.
UCLA has always had good baseball, dude. If you go to California and a high major high school team, the baseball out there is ridiculous.
Hey, but
it's a lot of kids out there playing.
Have you noticed that since COVID, there's only been one California team make the World Series in college baseball?
Why do you think that is?
Because they shut everything down for 2 years out there.
Yeah.
And all those kids, have you looked at Texas's roster?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of California.
You had a water polo player from Southern California come to Austin.
Yes, Farmer.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you have to toe that line, and that's, I guess, Max Wiener's just figured out whatever works for him because everybody has this data. Everybody has it. And granted, it does, the kid still has to come out and do it and perform. But whatever sprinkle of magic dust that Wiener's got, he's got a magic wiener, and it just works.
I mean,
Schloss has the magic wiener. Sorry, that was low-hanging fruit. I had to say it.
But yes, I mean, Wiener's really good at what he does. And
Sean Clinch says Vandy, Arkansas, and Texas and Oklahoma will all be in Omaha.
Good chance.
I mean, you've got to find the dude to host, so they might have to do it as a 2 seed. But
I mean, George is going. George has got to be.
Well, the thing is that starting pitching is, and granted they had 2 good outings from Curley and then the guy on Sunday, or I guess technically it was Saturday, but if they hit the ball, I mean they might have had 4 hits that weren't home runs in that entire series.
Yeah.
And they scored 10 runs one game. They just, hit the ball over the fence.
But the SEC is so much farther ahead than everybody else because of the amount of money they spend on baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Arkansas, you saw them go from. I mean, I never really heard of Arkansas being relevant in baseball. They usually weren't relevant in just about anything except for when they had that good basketball coach once and they had Darren McFadden.
Yeah.
So, but then they go and spend all this money and give the coach over there a scientific pitching lab that can do whatever that basically the first one to do it. Then all of a sudden, oh crap, they're in Omaha 3 times in the next 7 years, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Like that's
Yeah.
just what it is. And so you give the guys those resources, you have no excuse but to perform,
I
or
mean,
they'll find somebody that gets in there and does it.
yeah, they basically have unlimited budgets.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because and it's true across the board. Football pays for a lot of things, and the SEC it just means more.
I mean, they're also drawing 8 to 12,000, 15,000 people a game.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I mean
to your program.
That's the thing. Like when I was at Georgia, when OU played them this last weekend, and that stadium is tiny. That's tiny compared to the regular other SEC teams that I've gone to. I mean that holds like maybe 4,000 people. You might get 4,500 if the frats get rowdy out there in right field that sit on the hill, but I mean, like OU is technically still relatively small, and I think their game record is about 7,000 people.
Here's the other thing. Remember this: Georgia, the head coach at Georgia, Wes Johnson, is also one of the best pitching coaches in the nation.
Who?
So Wes Johnson. Don't forget about that. He'll have him rolling.
Yeah, he's a pitching guy. I mean So the one thing that has been good about them is their bullpen has been dang good and kept them in ball games.
Oh yeah,
1,000%. I mean, they took a kid. This is just prove that the SEC is that good. They took a kid out of wherever that Curly kid came from that was making faces on the mound and blowing it by people at 101. Yeah. He came from like Wright State or Wichita State or VCU. I can't remember where it was. And comes in, started there last year, had some good numbers, transfers to Georgia's last year. They put him in a lab. Now he's throwing 100. He was their best arm out of the bullpen. They thought, maybe he should be our Friday night guy, and he's done well in that spot. I mean, he just took probably the top 5 pitcher in the SEC. I mean, he went inning for inning, stride for stride with them through 7.
Yep.
So that's he does know how to coach it.
So.
Georgia, I mean, Oklahoma's supposed to have a pretty good pitching coach.
Yeah. There's another one. One of the best pitching coaches in the nation.
Yeah. And they're blue collaring it out there. Those updates are coming. They haven't made them yet. They don't have all the labs and everything, and they're supposed to add on to the stadium.
Yeah.
But
well, Coach Cobb, it's getting late. I know you got a busy day tomorrow and a busy week coming up. But before we let you go, we have a new sponsor to Live from the Pines. He played a little baseball for you back in the day. Little Malcolm. He came on and, Cooper Knight's helping run the podcast for us, and him and Little Malcolm worked up a deal. So we want to give a shout out to Little Malcolm. Shop Really Having for the partnership with Live from the Pines. Use code HAVENFAM for 15% off your purchase. Shop Really Having on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and etc. New limited edition hoodies out now. Coach Cobb, we want to see you in one of those hoodies. Support.
Are you going to post the link on Twitter?
Cooper will.
Okay.
I don't know how to do all that.
Cooper, I appreciate it. I lost my Facebook and my Instagram. It got hacked.
I saw that.
Your Facebook and Instagram, you didn't make a new one?
I made a new one, and they shut it down and told me it didn't meet their standards or something.
Well, you text Cooper Knight, I bet you he gets that lined out for you. That kid is a whiz on a computer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but y'all go Shop Really Having. Malcolm Deason, he's got all the new hoodies and shorts and shirts on the website. I've seen a few of them. I don't own any yet, but maybe he'll help Live from the Pines out.
Do they make them in your size?
I hope so. Those designer clothes are a little tight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those designer clothes are a little tight. I would consider this shirt designer. This would be designer.
Well, I'm using my phone and not my computer because of the camera issue that we had earlier, and I really can't see it.
It blends in, kind of. I think it's a King Ranch shirt. Yeah, I could consider that a little, designer. And I don't know. People say I dress like an old man, but
you do.
Yep.
I don't know how. I wear normal clothes.
You dress like an insurance salesman.
Yep.
I literally wore this and some green Tacoma pants and some boots to work today, and I thought that was pretty young.
So
They were khaki pants. I thought.
They're what?
They're khaki pants. It's a green shirt and khaki pants.
uh,
Starch khaki pants.
Well, I'll maybe little Malcolm and Cooper can put me in some younger style clothes, because if I'm going to buy a pair of shoes, it's going to be some Hokas because they're comfortable and they're not too tight on the foot. So
You gotta watch that big toe.
yeah, like when I go buy shoes, like I really don't care if they look like like this week at rodeo.
You still try the shoes on and then run around the store to make sure they make you run
Yeah,
fast.
I did a little sprint. Yeah, this week at rodeo, I will say I wore a pair of On Clouds the first night, and my feet just hurt. And then all the rest of the week, I bought the Old Faithful Hokas out, and it was like walking on clouds. So style is something I'm not really worried about anymore. I'm worried about comfort. But Coach Cobb, we thank you for coming on Live from the Pines again. We look forward to having you back on, keep it going again this playoff series. Before we go, give a big shout out to our guys at Zilker Belts. Use discount code PINES936 for all online orders. Coach Cobb, before we let you go, tell us a little bit, how can we get out and watch you, support you from the house? What can we do?
you can support the baseball program by purchasing a port butt every year. That's how we get all our stuff and our equipment that allows us to be better developed, or develop our players, develop our kids. We got I know they'll have the audio feeds for the game this weekend or this week, and when we go to Crandall and Lindale and then Athens, and then just when you see the kids, just encourage them to play their best, do their best, and we've had a good season, but we don't want to be done. So don't mention hey, you've had a great season so far, be proud of yourself. Like, we want more. We still want them to be hungry.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And me and Tyler had me talk today after work, and I don't think we're going to make it to Crandall Wednesday, but we will be in Lindale on Friday, and we pray we don't have to go to Athens on Saturday. It should be wrapped up by then. But
well, I like our chances if we get to Athens on Saturday, by the way.
Okay. Well,
where are y'all playing at, like Athens High School, or are you playing at?
Yes.
So it goes Crandall, Lindale, then Athens. That's a heck of a journey.
Yeah. It was more of a journey to get there than ever in all my coaching career too.
Like Crandall of all places, we couldn't do a home. We couldn't do a home and home and then a neutral.
Well, I was about to flip them Tatum because I was ready to bring them to the Piney Woods.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess we don't want to go to, because we don't want to take a chance. Have to go to McKinney on Friday, then back door and having to go to somewhere on Saturday. So yeah, you go to Crandall, come home, get a day of rest, and you go to Lindale. What's that, a 45-minute hour bus ride?
Yep.
Yeah, so they'll be perfectly rested. And these kids are smart enough to know not to, stay up late on Friday night. And they know to go to bed early and get ready to play baseball. So
yep.
I think they're ready.
Well, we'll see.
Well, thank you again for coming on Live for the Pines. Try to get Colton Everett on here pretty soon, during the playoff run. So he has enough time to talk to us. He's a busy man, We understand it, Colton. We get it. You're, a little too busy for Live from the Pines, but
I guarantee you, he is not listening to this because he went to bed about 8:00.
Yes, he stayed out fishing all weekend.
Oh yeah, you got to get him away from fishing and get him locked into pitching, because they're studying it.
Well, we'll be sure to have a little pep talk with him. And good luck to all these 2025 Fighting Lufkin Panthers. We look forward to seeing y'all in Round Rock. Thank you, Coach Cobb. We'll talk to you.
Thanks.